Like, comment, subscribe.
I have both of the cars out back, and I have two tasks that I have planned for this weekend. First is to change the oil in the TDI. Since I purchased the car, I want to put some fresh oil in there, new oil filter, get this prepped up for some long driving back and forth to work. And the S5, I have a new radiator, new water pump with a metal impeller, as well as a thermostat to replace in this. Pulled up in the driveway couple weeks ago and started to boil over a little bit, and while I'm in there I said I might as well swap out the water pump as well as the thermostat. I popped the top engine cover off. One of the things that disappoints me about this particular setup is we do not have the oil filter up top. That is so convenient with the oil filter being mounted up and being able to easily swap it out. Therefore, I have to jack the car up, go up under the bottom, remove the belly pan from underneath the car, and then drain the oil as well as swap out the oil filter. And the oil filter is blocked by part of a harness. We're going to have to move that out the way. I'm going to blow these leaves out of the car, pretty much clean a little bit of this stuff up later on. Not too pressed about cleaning it up right now, but we'll just blow the leaves out of the way and get prepped to change the oil. The TDI engine in this vehicle puts out more horsepower than my 1.9 ALH. This has a cross-flow head compared to the other head, the older style cylinder head. And one of the things I like about it is this has a built-in water to air intercooler into the intake manifold. That would make the intake charge a little more efficient compared to the older style. I have the car jacked up. I could have pulled it up on some ramps, but I do like the extra clearance from working underneath without having the ramps directly up under the tires itself. We're going to go ahead and drop the belly pan for this. Underneath the vehicle, along the front side and both sides, the driver and the passenger side, you have T25 Torx that's securing this part of the belly pan, and at the back you have some larger T45 Torx. There's three of those securing the back part of the oil pan. Let's go ahead and take this belly pan out. I'm pretty sure it's going to be quite a bit of leaves probably popping out. Not sure where they had this car parked at, but it appears to have accumulated a lot of leaves up under here. It's not too bad up under here. I was surprised. I thought it would have accumulated a lot more leaves up under here. We have the belly pan removed now, and it doesn't look too bad up under here. Once you remove the screws from off of both sides, the belly pan kind of swings down at the back, and the clips and everything up into here like swings out. These are angled down a little bit and they kind of snap in position, and it's got like a little mini hook right here that'll kind of hook up in here to help keep everything fixed up in position. So it's not too bad up under here. The CVs look pretty good for the most part. Car looks pretty good. No major oil leaks or nothing like that. And my boots on the driver's side as well as the passenger side are pretty much intact. So that is pretty good for the most part. Only thing, just a lot of dust accumulation and typical road dust and debris. I took the air gun and blew most of that stuff out. Now back to the oil filter. This is the harness that I was referring to that's blocking here. I'm just going to push this out of the way. It's a 13 millimeter. I'm going to get a 13 millimeter socket, remove this plug from here, and drain the oil out of the filter housing itself. And once we get that drained out, then we can go ahead and use a larger socket. I'll see what size it is in metric, and that way we can have a good accurate description on what tool to use to remove this. And of course, while I'm under here, the oil pan drain plug is just your typical 19 millimeter plug for removing your oil pan. Removing the oil plug itself to drain the oil. We'll start draining that, and we'll drain the front. So we're looking good for our engine oil, pretty much drained. Just a few more drops are just coming out of there. We'll go ahead and reinstall our drain plug and drain this oil out of this pan, reposition it, and drain the oil from out of the oil filter housing. I use a zip tie just to temporarily pull the harness to the side, so that way when I'm draining the oil out of the oil filter housing, it doesn't get too messy with oil dripping down on the harness and just running along the side of the engine and down all over the place. It can get very, very messy. The size to remove this cover, that is a 32 millimeter, so that fits in here pretty snug. As you see, that's on there good, so that's a 32 millimeter for removing that. So now let's go ahead and drain the oil from out of the filter housing. I have my oil filter cartridge removed, and it didn't turn out to be as bad as I thought. I thought it was going to be a lot more messy and sloppy as some oil changes may go with filters being in a difficult location, but it wasn't too challenging. You got a straight shot to it. The only thing that blocked it was just the harness a little bit. Once I zip tied that out of the way, it was not too much oil dripped down on it. It was pretty much a clean shot straight into the oil pan. Removing this plug helped out quite a bit. Now that we have our cartridge removed, we want to change the O-ring on this housing right here, as well as on the bottom plug as well. Luckily, the filter comes with that, and I'm using somewhat of a quality filter. This STP high mileage filter is pretty good. Also, it's very critical, very, very critical you use the proper engine oil for this type of diesel engine. And I chose to go with the Mobil 1 ESP. And no, ESP isn't for extrasensory perception, it's for emission system protection. And if you use the incorrect oil, you can pretty much clog up your diesel particulate filter and cause a lot of emission harm and damage, and it can get very expensive. Very important and critical that you use the proper oil. Do the research on what type of brand you would like to go with. I found this easier, but there's several in the market: the Castrol, the Motul, Mobil 1, whatever is convenient for you, but make sure it's definitely compatible for the engine. The 50700 compatible oil for this style 2.0 TDI. We have our new O-rings installed in position. I just used a pick just to remove the O-rings. Put the new ones in. A lot of times I'll usually put, before I install these, I'll put oil around the O-rings itself just to help it slide into position and seat a little bit better. You don't have to worry about getting this mixed up, this particular style filter. You can just snap it into the bottom of the housing itself. A lot of filters are double-sided, and you want to make sure that you have the filter installed in the correct orientation. When you install this, this will seal up against the top part of the oil filter housing itself. And installing the new cartridge, just make sure you have it centered properly, and you should hear it snap into position just like that. You don't want to just have it loosely fitted in position, because you can actually crush it or damage it and compromise your sealing points. I removed my zip tie that was pulling the harness to the side. I don't want to keep any unnecessary stress on that. Allow it to go back into its original orientation. You want to hand thread this back into position. That's a good idea to do that with the housing. That way you don't break anything. It has like a waffle type of circle funnel that helps center and goes into the center of the oil filter cartridge itself. So you don't want to crack that off in position. So it's best to kind of, when this is out the way, push everything straight up, keeping everything centered, and just hand thread it in position. That should go pretty easy. What I'm going to do now is, all of this is already tightened back up. I tightened my drain plug up. Next step that I would like to do is go ahead, fill the engine back up with oil, run it for about 10 minutes with the car elevated, just to look under and make sure there's no type of leaks. Before, I had a mishap years ago as a teenager and as a young adult also, screwing on a screw-on type of filter, and didn't use lubrication around the O-ring. And when I started it up, the seal blew out, and brand new, fresh synthetic oil squirted all over the ground, and I lost like easily probably a gallon and a half of synthetic oil, and my driveway was a mess. That was a hard lesson to learn and very messy job. We've been running for a little over 10 minutes now. We're looking pretty good for the most part. No oil leaks on the ground. Everything is looking nice and dry. Last step, we'll reinstall the belly pan and call that a wrap.